Hey guys, Terry Red here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about FizX Physics version 3.0 for Future Pinball. Yep, that's right, JLou has been working behind the scenes to completely overhaul and update FizX Physics to basically rewrite the whole thing, make it way more efficient, add new features, eliminate unneeded features, and to fix any of the things that were kind of not working as well as they should, or any quirks or anything like that. All of that has been fixed. Uh, for those who don't understand what I'm talking about, FizX Physics is, well, simply put, Future Pinball's physics haven't been updated since like 2010. The core program itself hasn't. BAM is an add-on program we use with Future Pinball to update it, to give it new features. And simply put, everyone always preferred newer visual pinball tables because they have like nFozzy physics. They play really good, really realistic. So what JLou did, because he understood how that worked, he applied those same nFozzy techniques to Future Pinball using BAM features and making it work with Future Pinball's engine. And as a result, and this is no BS, Future Pinball tables now play excellent. When you apply FizX Physics and you do it properly to a Future Pinball table, they play excellent now. The days of Future Pinball just being not an option for serious pinball players, well, I would suggest you guys take another look at these new tables coming out with FizX version 3. It is a night and day difference. So, and even compared to older version 2.0, this is a huge difference, guys. A huge difference. So things like post passing, you could do them before, but you always had to let the flipper come down to get enough power to do it. That's no longer an issue. It's easy to do and has full power like it should. Backhands are a gigantic difference. Now you have full power for backhands super easily. You don't have to, have the flipper come all the way down to get full power for your backhands anymore. You can do the way they normally would with a quick flick. We now have flipper nudging. And those who don't know what flipper nudging is, I'll explain more. I'll show more of it. But bottom line is, when the ball's say rolling on the right towards the right flipper, well then you rapidly tap the opposite flipper, the left flipper in this case, to make the ball roll back towards the right side of the flipper, so that way it doesn't roll off the flipper. But I'll visually show that more later on. So bottom line is, it's all been completely redone, and it's awesome. And you're going to start seeing some new table updates that I've been working on as a way of testing this. And I'll show a quick preview, first preview of those in the later part of this video. And then there's going to be all of the previous release PinEvent tables are also going to have this added to them. So you're going to be seeing a lot of new, really cool tables coming out with this, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to play great. The all-in-one example table that we're looking at right now has been updated as well, and the tutorial has been updated. So simply put, if you're someone, so I guess I'm going to talk about that first. Talk about some of the physics settings, and then I'll show the table examples later on. So I'm going to have chapters so that you guys can skip to whatever you want. But yeah, we'll just get right into it. So the all-in-one example table, if you come to this page, which I'll have linked, you'll now notice that the tutorial is no longer on this web page. I've now put it into a PDF file. So that way you can use it wherever you want. It's way easier. But this page is going to tell you what FizX is, what this table is. It's going to add FizX Physics, Fleep sounds, surround sound feedback, and DOF, and other awesome things to a Future Pinball table, and do it very easily. Like very easily compared to any previous attempts to do that. So this has been updated. It tells you basically what each thing is, what it's going to add to the table, any changes, which has been a huge change to the table itself. Where you're going to need a new BAM update. Yep, that's right, because we're using new BAM features that allow these newer physics to be possible. And you would add it to a normal Future Pinball table, one that doesn't have any previous physics or anything else like that. You would remove all the older stuff that, were workarounds. You would remove all that stuff. And you don't need DOF or PUP to even use these tables. Even if you want to add it yourself, you don't need them. They're optional extras that it will make use of if you have them. If you don't have them, then they will automatically be disabled, and the table will just be like any other table. And it tells you that this tutorial does not make a PinEvent table because that is, those are my releases specifically that are way more features, way more advanced, way more beyond what you guys would want to learn in a simple all-in-one tutorial like this. So yeah, you're just going to download the example table, which I have posted at the bottom of this first part here, and then you'll just extract everything, and you'll have it right here. So you're going to have the table file itself, and then you're going to have the tutorial, which is going to be in a PDF. And well, yeah, let's just. So this is the tutorial now. It's not on a web page. You're just going to follow it here in order. I'm not going to go through all that in this video. But the bottom line is it's going to be very similar to the video tutorial I did. There are some key changes because of the new differences in FizX version 3, and I point that out on the webpage. So follow this written tutorial if you are updating a table using this, okay? Like from beginning to end, follow this tutorial. Do not follow the video tutorial. Only use it as a helper guide, but you just need to know that it's always going to be this written tutorial that's up to date. Because video tutorials are always out of date, guys. It's just impossible. So yeah, you'll just go through the whole thing, like before. And I even point out, where is it here? Where are you? Yeah, okay, sorry, yeah. So you can follow this video tutorial, guys, to help you along, but understand these are the differences between that video tutorial and the new written tutorial, which you have to note because there are huge differences that are not compatible. So just note that if you're going to be doing it. And if you're someone who already updated a table before, then you can just follow this bit here. That will tell you, how to update an older FizX table that use the all-in-one example table code. It's going to tell you how to update it easily for the newer version of FizX. It's not hard. It's actually quite easy. And yeah, and then here's the actual file download here now. So yeah, that's the quick blurb about the all-in-one example table. And yeah, for anyone who's wondering what the heck this is, I'm a huge Silent Hill fan. Obviously, I'm working on Silent Hill, my own. First completely original table, and my oldest kid drew this picture for me. They're very talented, but it was for my birthday. This is a scene from Silent Hill 2 for anyone who's a big fan, and this is a picture they drew. I think it's awesome. So it's my wallpaper. I normally don't have wallpapers, but you know what? This one I did. All right, so here's the all-in-one example table. It's been updated for the newer FizX and a few other things to make an easier example. I'm just going to scroll through down to the new FizX features to quickly explain the differences. Like before, you can have control over all your ball hit sounds. The ball will automatically generate sounds when it hits certain materials, and it uses fleep sounds. So it's going to automatically control all of that. We don't have to manually add any extra triggers or anything like that. It's awesome. It just automatically works, which is fantastic. That's part of FizX, and it's fantastic. So we combined that with my own PinMech sound code and the ball rolling code that I came up with previously that works for both Future Pinball and Pup SSF. So it's all combined now, and it's awesome. So you would also come here, and if you want to change your volume settings or the type of sound that you want for ball rolling, you do all that here. And that goes for PinEvent tables too. They have those same features that anyone can change. And this is basically the commands that would be used to control all your, PinMech sound commands. So they automatically control the Future Pinball mechanical sound volume or sounds, or it'll control the Pup SSF sounds. It does one or the other depending on what you have for settings. It'll automatically control that, and it will automatically output DOF commands for DOF feedback. Again, depending on what you've added to the table, but this is that whole section here. And I'm not going to go into that. You can read the tutorial for all that. And I've added extra stuff for ball rolling on ramps now. So here's the big enchilada here. So the FizX flipper settings and profile settings. So we still have that like we had before, but we're pretty dialed in now. Like we don't have to, like before we, had options to change to frames per second. We had multiple profiles and all that. And we're at the point now where this is pretty locked in. Like, we can like use these default settings for most tables, and they're all going to play pretty awesome without making huge changes, unless some tables are unique. So that's why the options are there. So we have two profiles: one for JLou's flippers, which is the default, and then one for, and it may have a different name on the table, but the bottom line is you have the default main one, and then you're going to have a custom one. They're both going to be the same by default. You could just change the second one, and then you can switch back and forth if you enable the profile switcher. You can change that back and forth, and then you can compare one to the other is the bottom line. So here's all the new settings for FizX 3.0. We still have live catch like before, and now we have a new coil type. So bottom line is this is basically a simple way for how fast the flipper moves. Like it's like a flipper rotation chart, but much more refined and much easier. And then you have a bunch of options here, and it tells you exactly how quickly they'll move. The torque and angle are the same as before. No changes there. Omega and mass are similar to base omega and tip omega, but they are different. Like the flipper omega is the main flipper strength, and the mass is how it's affected progressively throughout the flipper. So the smaller the tip gets, the more you get towards the tip, the difference in how it's affected for that. And the rolling effect and flipper friction, you can read what those are. These are, I think, for bouncing type settings, so you can, again, read what those are. But this is the new one, flipper nudge strength. So again, I mentioned that before. If you have a ball rolling on a flipper slowly, you can tap the opposite flipper to make the ball roll back down so that you prevent the ball from rolling off the flipper. More advanced players tend to use it, and it's not always going to be easily usable, but it's an option now. And some people who are serious players absolutely love that. Big change is we also now have these settings as well for every individual flipper. The two main flippers will both use the same settings because that's normal for like 95% of pinball tables out there. But now, like for example, Sonic Pinball Mania, all the small flippers up top, I can now independently adjust each one to make them exactly as I need. For example, if you have an upper flipper on the right that I want to have the shot be a little easier and roll off a little more compared to the middle right flipper, which I may not want to act the same way. So now we can do that independently for all the additional left and right flippers separately. So that's awesome. Like that allows way more control. And then now you have the second profile with the exact same settings if you want to change back and forth between those. So the general settings are now where we have the typical non-flipper related settings for FizX. So you have your slingshot threshold, which is you're talking about how sensitive the slingshot is for the ball speed. So if the ball's going really slow when it hits the slingshot, it's not going to bounce and activate. If it's going fast, then it will, and you can change how sensitive that is. These are new: playfield friction and elasticity. They're pretty much as they are described, So those are new options we have now that are directly changeable here. And same with table slope. That is a huge difference. Now you do not make those changes here in the table slope. This is ignored now because this, for FizX at least, will override those settings. So now you just make the change right here. And the difference is we can now adjust that using the FizX tweaker tool while we're playing in real time. We couldn't do that before. So that's a big change right here. So that you have to change that here. This will do nothing. So make sure you understand that. Very important. Everything else is ignored. It's all set here. Ball material, so that's a new one as well. That basically allows you to change how bouncy a ball-to-ball collision is on the table before. That was more of you had to do that in the XML settings, but now we can do that dynamically if we really want. And then this is all your normal drop target settings for like scatter physics. And then same with rubbers. The presets and scatter for all the rubbers on the table can be set here. You normally don't have to touch those at all. And then you have the section here, which is all the rubber bands and the rubber posts that we add for FizX Physics. Understand, like you might see FizX Lite out there. That is not FizX full PhysX, that is not PhysX 3.0. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff. So PhysX Lite will maybe have better flippers, but it won't. The rest of the table will still play the way old Future Pinball did. Whereas full PhysX Physics, PhysX 3.0 and higher will, you have all the rubbers completely replaced, so that all the rubbers can be customed or set, or they just play better because of PhysX Physics code and settings. So now here's the section here, the XML. Normally this is not touched, but if you update a table, then these are the things that you can change. Everything else you leave alone. For those who don't understand, this is Future Pinball's main physics engine settings that can be changed, but then PhysX code works on top of this to do extra stuff because of BAM allows it to do a whole bunch of new stuff we couldn't do before. And we do not change this. We stay at 512 frames per second in both here and here. Before we had 256, but now nope. PhysX is now locked in for 512. All updates are going to use that, so don't change it. It's way more efficient, so we don't need to reduce it like we did before for some tables. So there's no reason to change it all. Now, if you want to use the PhysX tweaker tool, you have to enable this to true. And if you want to, here, I'll actually do that right now. If you want to have the profile changer working as well, and I'll demonstrate that later, then you enable that here. And that's about as far as we need to really go for that. So those are all the main things for PhysX if you want to make changes at all. I made it all modular, so that way you can easily find the stuff at the top of the table, and then the code, you don't have to go through any of that stuff. So yeah, so that's our demo table settings for PhysX. I know that's a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm just going to quickly bring up the example table here so that you guys can kind of I can do a quick blurb of the settings and everything else you can go through. All right, so here I'm gonna see. Yeah, I'll keep her there. All right, and you know what? Here, I'll make this a little bit brighter for you guys. We'll do that, and maybe that. Sure, we'll just keep it like that. All right, so. All right, so you're gonna notice a few differences here. Now the ball rolling changes when it's on the ramps. Actually, hold on. That might be a little loud. Hold on. Yeah, that's a little loud. Okay, I'm going to turn that down a little bit so you can actually hear me. All right. There we go. So, all right. So you can see, look at the post pass right away. Like, I was able to do a quick flick, and it just was easily went over there. Now, again, you're still going to have to time it right because, rubbers are not perfectly round, so, but you don't have to let the flipper come all the way down and up like we did before. We can do a quick flick like that and have it come across. Every table is going to be a little bit different for how well it does it because the geometry is just going to be different. But yeah, man, it's a huge difference right off the bat, and that sucked. So ball rolling, for example, you can hear, that's how it sounds on wood, but once it hits a plastic ramp, now the sound changes. So that's something that, you're going to have to manually control yourself, but it's now added as an option for the example table so that people could see for themselves how to add that, right? All right. Now, understand the example table is not like an example of this is the best playing table out there. It's more for the code and for you to see how to add the rubbers and stuff like that. It's not going to be like, oh, this is the most amazing, playing table ever, As you can see, I'm not doing very good here. But even like, for example, like backhands. Let's see if I can try to show you there. So, see, like before, you couldn't even get that kind of power with a quick flick like that. That was something that with older PhysX, you couldn't do that. All right, so now I'll try to demonstrate flipper nudging. since that's kind of one of those odd things that a lot of people may not know about. So this is the FizX Tweaker tool. You can bring this up and make changes in real time to all the physics settings. This doesn't get saved to the table, but it allows you to see how you can make changes, and then that way you can write it down on paper and then just update the code yourself after the fact, right? I did change it so that it doesn't save to FPRAM or load from FPRAM after doing a whole bunch of tables. That just overcomplicated things, and it's not used. So I wanted to keep it simple because none of it gets saved to the table anyway. So I removed all those, keeps the code very small, and makes it super simple to understand. So let's go to, where are we here? There we go, flipper nudge strength. So I'm going to try to kind of zoom in more. Okay, so all right, so you'll notice. Okay, so you can see how the ball looks, right, with the texture there. So if I flip the opposite flipper, you'll notice that it's going to move a little bit. So the idea is that the coil on the right side is going to physically affect the movement of the ball just slightly, or the person tapping on the cabinet, the movement of the cabinet may be affecting it. Either way, whatever you believe is the actual cause, the bottom line is it's an actual feature now. So if the ball was like, say rolling down here and rolling up towards the flipper, the idea is that you would have to rapidly do that, and then it would keep the ball from rolling off if it's going slow enough. So like, let's say you go like that, then it helps the ball to go back. So we'll try it again. Now if I go too fast, like, it might still do it, but like, see, look at that. Like, that ball would have rolled off easily if I didn't do that, or ideally would, depending on the speed of the ball, right? Yeah, see, like, so it's one of those things that it depends on how fast the ball's moving. Now, if I put this way high, you're not going to use 30, you're just not, but, you can see, yeah, you can see how, ridiculously fast that ball went. It's, and yeah, so look at how much that's affecting it. You know what I mean? So you can see the big difference there. So that's flipper nudge strength. It's one of those things that, some people may want to use it. Some people may not even think about it. But if you're you play real pins and you're a more serious player, it's one of those things that a lot of guys just naturally do that because they're so used to it. And now it's an actual feature and function in FizX Physics and Future Pinball that you get to use now. So that's freaking awesome, man. And then all these other settings are all added here now. All the main settings there. And slope is a new one now. Now you can actually adjust the slope. So you can see how the ball is actually moving, right? Like, how it's being affected. So if I wanted to change the table slope, now you'll notice that it says it takes effect on a new ball. So you have to wait till the ball has been, destroyed and a new ball has been created, right? So if I wanted to, oops, sorry, darn it. Hold on. If I wanted to change the table slope to a really high amount, a ridiculously high amount, so that's not, no table's ever going to use that, but so you'll notice nothing's taking effect right now. Or, well, actually it did. Okay, so sometimes it won't take effect until the ball's been drained. So now, watch, like, the ball's going to be, like, super heavy now. Oh, actually, well, I can't even get in there because, like, this is ridiculously way too much of a slope. So now the ball is, like, like it's on Jupiter or something. So if you go the opposite way, then it's going to be way too little, right? So the value of the slope is not necessarily reflective of real tables. It's just what we found works best. The 5.3 is probably closer to like an actual, on a real table, probably something like 6.5 or 7 maybe. Well, maybe 6. It depends. But so you're going to, see now that, once the ball gets destroyed, now it's going to be like, as if it's like on the moon. The ball's barely going to move. Yeah. So there you go. Like, that way, the idea here is that these settings, oh, shoot. These settings can be changed dynamically without you having to close the table, which is awesome. And then if you want to reset all the settings to what you had when the table started up, then you can just go ahead and do that. And the coil type, again, that you can change that to see, how much that affects the flipper behavior. All of this stuff is here. Live catch, difficulty, all of it's here. So yeah. So I know that's not like a super like dramatic example of the physics itself, but I'm just gonna get this back to hold on here. There you go. So I know that's not a gigantic, amazing like wow, look at how this table's playing. I was more demonstrating the big differences between 2.0 and this one. It's one of those things that you have to play it yourself to really get a better idea. But I wanted to show all the differences with the all-in-one example table, the new settings, ball rolling, and flipper nudging. Uh, so when you play an actual table, you'll see a huge difference. So now that I've gone through all of that, let's do something more fun and the kind of stuff you guys want to see more of, which is an actual table. So I am going to bring up one of the new tables that you are going to be seeing coming out very, very, very soon. That would be, I've got a few of them here, and others that I'm already in progress of. Oh yes, one of my favorite tables of all time. So history of this table, many years ago, GLXB and Highlander did the original table build to be more like the real Stern Indiana Jones table, which not many people are big fans of because the sounds weren't great, and there was something about it. Like everyone compares it to the Williams table. So Williams table is awesome, it's legendary, everyone loves that table. But the Stern table, even though it's actually technically kind of a cool table, the way Stern did the sound and the game modes and other stuff, it just wasn't great. It didn't. I don't know if you. I've only played the visual pinball one, not the real one, right? And it was just very meh, like it just didn't excite me very much, compared to what I wanted from an Indiana Jones table. I'm a huge indie fan, so what happened was Slamtail updated that table to his Ultimate Pro version. So I would compare it to like the original Jaws table versus the Ultimate Pro. They're completely different games as far as I'm concerned, even though the layout is basically the same. Same thing with this. Even though the layout is basically the same as the Stern table, the Ultimate Pro update is a completely different game as far as I'm concerned. Way better. It blows the Stern table away in every way, shape, or form. So for me, I love that table, so I wanted to update it, not just for FizX, but with my own updates that I normally do that you guys have become accustomed to, with my own way of updating the lighting, the shadows, shadow maps, raycast shadows, new features, lots of different things. So that's what this new update is. The lighting's been updated. The inserts have been updated. The shadow maps have all been added. New features. Multiple things that I'll go through here. Oh, excuse me. So let's just go through some of the new stuff we're talking about here. Actually, here, I'll just turn that down for a moment here. We'll turn that back up after. So some of the newer things you may notice are, well, the most obvious is we got Indy. Yeah, that's right. I added a new Indy model to the table. You can have him on the table. He'll do small animations, nothing crazy. He won't be jumping across the table or anything like that. Or you can have him in the room as a full-size guy. Or you can just not have him at all. So you don't have to have him. And as you can see, the inserts have been updated now with bump map inserts. I didn't use mesh models because some parts of this table, like for example, where the snakes are and all that, you kind of need to do custom models to make that look and work right. But, so I still use Schlabber 34's insert images, and it looks so much better than just the plain old whatever, was on there before. It just looks so nice. The other thing I also changed was the apron here. Now, one of the new features this table has over the Stern is you have what's called a free shot, which allows you to use well, you can't see it right now, but there's an action button, which the Stern table didn't have. So you're going to be able to use a free shot to just basically make a shot. You hit the button and then you get that shot automatically. It's easier to understand when you start playing it. And you also have a light here for action, for telling you when you can launch the ball, when you can shoot the swordsman, or when you can toggle the next active scene over here. So yeah, those are some of the changes compared to what the table originally had before. And then all the lighting has been completely overhauled. The physics are completely new. Mechanical sounds are all new. It's a huge update. It's a big difference. Another thing I'm starting to add now for desktop players is built-in static camera views. Now, you could always push that with C to change that before, and that was only good if someone took the time to add those to the config file, the BAM config file. You have to copy that over to make it work. If you don't have that file installed, then the desktop views are going to be poo-poo, and if you push C, it wouldn't look that great. So you can still do that if you want, but that may or may not look good. So what I decided to do was I'm going to just put views built in through the code of the table. So that way you guys can push the plunger button, and it'll toggle between a few different modes automatically for you. No matter if you have a BAM config file or not, it'll always be part of the table now. This is only for desktop view though. So if you don't want to use any of those views, you want to use your own Future Pinball view, then you set it to off, and then you'll just, you can choose the normal ones, or you could still do BAM's ones that you can change with the C button, and it will automatically use those as well. Totally up to you, but you can only change it while you're in attract mode. So just so you understand that. And for this table, I also added it so that the video screen on the back wall can change so that you can have it angled for the ramp for cabinet view. It looks a lot better in cabinet view than it does for desktop. Or you can have it on the apron. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, okay. You can have it on the apron, or have it off completely, or on the original spot in the back wall. And you can toggle how many balls you want. And yeah, so there we go. All right, so we'll just actually get some gameplay going here. Hold on, all right.
My name is Indiana Jones.
All right, let's go. Let's try the swordsman. All right. Oh, so you can see the action button, the lights change to let you know, what hitting that button will accomplish. So the idea is you have to hit that trap ball up there to take out the swordsman. Alright, so I was too late, so that's why he went away. So you can see right off the bat, the lighting is a huge difference. It looks so nice with the newer BAM updated lighting, and with the shadow maps and the raycast shadows. And then now we got, FizX Physics, which is so much nicer. Oh my gosh. Accurate shots, easy to make shots, no super wide shots anymore, proper ball behavior, flipper nudging if you want to do that, like right there. Again, the flipper nudging only works when the ball is touching the flipper though, just so you guys understand that. Like if it's up here, it won't do anything, but if it's like touching the flipper, then it'll affect the ball, all right? So yeah, we'll just play a little bit here. Bumpers are all updated now. All the older methods that were used to try to make the bumpers better are no longer needed. Slings are completely updated. All the physics are completely updated. They're so much nicer. All right, let's see if I can make it. There we go. Now you look at the free shot in the bottom left, it's flashing. So that means that if I push the action, well, that didn't work. So what that means is that if I push the button while that's flashing, then whatever the active shot is, automatically you get it. So it's a way of, progressing easier. And you get to stack those free shots as well. Like you get one free one per ball. So you'll notice it's not lit up because we're not in a mode, right? It's only active when we're in a mode. There. See, look at the backhands. You could never do that before. You could not have super strong backhands. Yeah. All right. Hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go right to a cool mode. So you can see how the modes are changing, the numbers here. So the action button is yellow, so it's telling you that, pushing the plunger or the action magna saves will toggle what's going to be the next scene. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go jump right to the multi-ball for Raiders mode, which is awesome.
treasures beyond your wildest aspirations. You want to see it open as well as...
Alright, so now it's ready. So now we're going to jump right into a multi-ball, and this is cool. The lighting, everything. And you also notice the spotlights are now real spotlights. They weren't that before because BAM didn't have those features before. Now, all the lighting has been updated, and it just looks so nice. Oh, it looks so nice. Oh yeah, this is awesome. I love this. Oh yeah, look at this, baby. Look at that lighting, man. Like, look at the shadows, and look at the ball. Like, the ball behavior is like so much nicer. Although I lost half the balls, but here, you know, let's just try. So again, so now you like FizX Physics allows you to have, you know, like control for powerful flippers, or you could have micro flips if you want. You know, so if you want to like try to do, you know, like that, and then go like that, you know, you have way more control than you did before. And you want to do your post passing, you know, you can try that. There you go. You know, that's the kind of thing you could never, ever do on old Future Pinball physics. Not even close. So, yeah, like, you have way more options, and you still have flipper nudging, you know, if you want to try it, but... There you go. Oh, no. Alright, I'll try one more ball, and then we'll move on to the next one. Here, we'll do swordsman again. So, one thing with the swordsman, if you can't make that shot, which it's got to be that captured ball, it's a real pain in the ass. So, if you don't want to do it, you can be like Indy. Action button is lit. Just shoot the guy. There you go.
You know how to fly, don't you?
No. Do you?
So you got Temple of Doom mode here. One of the many of them. Now this table has a ton of modes. Like at least 18 like you know, main modes, and then like smaller mini modes on top of that, and they all most of them play very differently. Like, this is a huge game. Now, the free shot is not available on every single shot, just so you understand that. That's why the light is there, so that you know whether you can use it or not. Alright, let's see if I can get this. I don't know. Alright, not quite.
I think we got a big problem.
Yeah, I know. There we go, I think we got her. Woohoo!
The Ark of the Covenant.
You get the combos. You get like the perks that can come up in the game. Like, this is one of my favorite games. Like, this is right up there with Jaws Ultimate Pro. If you like indie, this is, in my opinion, the best indie table out there. And yes, that includes comparing to the Williams. I'm actually serious about that. I like this way better than the Williams, and I love the Williams table. But this particular one, not the normal Stern one. The normal Stern one, the audio and everything is just kind of very meh, you know. So let's try to get that Crusade shot there. Ah, almost.
I didn't know you could fly a plane. Fly, yeah. Land, go.
Alright, so as an example, I'm going to use a free shot. So you can see all these arrows. Any of those is a shot, right? So, right? But if I use the free shot, it's going to use one of those to make the shot, right? And I love the extra shadow maps, you know, like, I add those to every table now. You know, the accented lighting on the drain, you know, the red lighting down there, all of that, you know, and all the other stuff I do for lighting updates, it just makes such a huge difference. Alright, I'll just do that. Alright, so here, you know, I'm just going to jump into another mode. Alright. Oh, I love this one too.
To get out, you must take the left tunnel.
And you can use Future Pinball's old nudging too if you want to kind of cheat, which I did there. So, in this case, I can use the free shot to make that right orbit shot. Now this is not timed right now. I don't think it is. So, you know, other modes are timed, so you might want to be careful. But so, okay, I'll just go ahead and do it. But the only thing I want to point out is when the ball is held, like in a kicker or, you know, for any kind of cinematic, don't use a free shot during that time because you might actually mess up your progression. It's something that I can't completely avoid in the code yet. So just make sure you use the free shot when the ball is actually out in play on the play field, not held for any reason. Not held by a magnet, not held by a kicker. Just as long as it's out like this, you can go ahead and use a free shot. So there you go. I made that shot, so now we progress to the next part. So now we got another multi-ball. Ah. Let's see if I can make at least one shot. Oh, that didn't last long, but there you go. You get the idea. All right. And that's indie, man. Like, you know.
You want my help or not?
So that's the Indiana Jones, the Fortune and Glory edition. Now, I give it a subtitle name because, you know, this is a huge, significant update compared to the previous Ultimate Pro version, you know, and it's easier for people to understand the difference between one and the other because this is a table update that I will update and maintain. Slamtail won't update or maintain this at all, and you know it has all the extra features, so that's why I add sub names to some of these tables, like Jaws Bigger Boat Edition or whatever like that. You know, some of them are more visually different than others, but what goes on behind the scenes with the physics and everything else is a huge night and day difference with the tables. So to me, you know, and the PinEvent features I add to it. So to me, like, it's easier for people to understand, oh, okay, this is that version of the table versus the Ultimate Pro this or the Ultimate Pro that, or someone added some update to this or that, you know, so that way you know it's the version that I'm updating and maintaining for my own updates, for my own features that I like to add. So we'll go through a couple more, and I know this is a long video, but that's why I add bookmarks so that you guys can jump to whatever you feel like, right? So here's another huge update that's coming very, very soon. And that's going to be RoboCop Dead or Alive Edition. So similar to the other updates, this is a table. RoboCop was a table originally made by ROM, an original table. So ROM made this table many years ago. And then years later, Slamtail did his Ultimate Pro update, which, just like Jaws Ultimate Pro, completely changes this game. You know, it took what was already a great table by ROM, but then completely changes the game code, the modes, the sound, the music, the lighting, you know, all sorts of stuff on the table to make it a much, much better game compared to the original table. You know, so for me, again, I love that version of the table. So I did similar updates to that as well. I completely overhauled the lighting, added all the physics, the mechanical sounds, the fleep, fall shadows, raycast shadows, shadow maps, new inserts. You know, all the lighting has completely been overhauled and updated. Some of the artwork in this case has been completely replaced, like the room artwork. The plastics have been redone. You know, so yeah, this is, and the physics makes this table play so much better. Huge night and day difference with this one. Yeah, and if you guys are wondering why these tables take so long to load, well, Slamtail added a lot of videos integrated into the table itself. Now, videos on that are part of the table, not popped videos, but part of the table, are thousands of individual JPEG textures. They're not a video file. They're just a whole crap load, thousands of them, of individual frames of you know, animation that are part of the table, and they play as video clips. So that's why it takes so long for these tables and Future Pinball to load. Is because of, you got like 2,000, sometimes 3,000 textures, you know, and you don't get that with most other tables, you know. So that's why they take so long to load. So same thing as before. You can you know, change your static camera view if you're in desktop mode. If you hit the left flipper will turn profanity on and off. You know, Slam's update to this table is so awesome, you know, and yeah, like now this is, you know, taken to another level as well. It just is so awesome. You can change the balls per game. And oh yeah, we already did that. All right, so we'll just jump right into it. So big changes I made is all the artwork on the side blades. The plastics are mostly changed. The apron's been changed up mostly. The room is all completely new artwork, and the ramps are now different colors. The plastics, the slings are color matched. To be like police like colors basically. So, and then I went through and did a lot of changes to the layout, to the ramps. I've updated and modified all the ramps. I had to change the actual models themselves. The targets are all the physics for all the targets are completely different now. The layout has been more adjusted to allow for way better flow now. It's such an awesome table. So let's just get right into it. So as you can see that new lighting there. Now we have new beacon lighting, because BAM with spotlights. Now you can do this kind of thing. So I added that in there. There we go. We got a scale shot. Nice. You can see like all the inserts are now changed. All the accent lighting is different. The flippers are really powerful while still having physics on them.
Your move, creep.
I missed ya. And then you can do live catches to catch those balls if you do it at just the right time.
A cop with superior firepower.
Let's just try to play through there.
Series 209 is a self-sufficient law enforcement robot.
All right, so Ed 209 has now been opened up. We can get a shot in there. Oh, not quite. All right, let's just backhander if we can. Look at that.
Put down your weapon. You have 20 seconds to comply.
Oh yeah. Now this shot was actually kind of too easy to do before, but but I'm gonna not comply. And then you drain because you did not comply. I love it. Look at the lighting. Look at everything. It's awesome, man. I love it. One of the many things Slam added to this table.
You call this a glitch?
Now the table layout, the original table layout, and most of the art, is still like Rom's table the way it was. Like the models, all that. He added all that, right? And if you look closely, you can tell that this is the left side of the table is his. He did the first Transformers table, the Stern one, and you could tell he used the same ramps on the left side from that table, and then on the right side it's kind of like Avatar. So you have Transformers on the left, and a little bit of Avatar on the right, and then some other changes, But yeah, it's an awesome table. Oh, nice. I love it. Ah, crap. I was trying to do a lot. Nope. Oh, we're okay. I guess I should have nudged there. And see, like, look at that. Look how smooth those shots are. Look at that. Look at that flow, man. Easy to do. You could not do that before. Like, Future Pinball's all physics were like, with super wide shots. Like it was just so hard to do. Nice flow and all that, and I went through this table. Like I overhauled like a lot of the geometry to allow this to work so super smooth now compared to before. Because with FizX, the angles are now realistic, right? So some of these tables were built with old Future Pinball physics in mind, and we'll get more into that when we talk about the next table. And then now you can see the spotlights. I added real spotlights to the table now. Because for those who wonder, a lot of the lighting here is all real-time dynamic lighting. That's why Future Pinball looks very different than Visual Pinball. Even with the new awesome tables on Visual Pinball with the Blender toolkit and all that, they look amazing. But it looks different because, again, if you update a table like how I like to update them, you'll see that dynamic lighting really, really shines. It really shows up all over the table. And if you know how to make use of it really well, it can just be a night and day difference, man. Oh my. There you go. Who am I? There you go.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night. Stay out of trouble.
I will. Thank you, Robo. All right. So there you go. You know, you can see all the updates. The inserts look better. You know, they're bump mapped, and you know, I like the red and blue. Like I changed it before; it was all blue before, too much blue. So I changed all the artwork to allow things to stand out more. So the left ramp, I made it all red. Right ramp made it all blue, and the slings and the slingshots, lighting, all that is made to match now. You know, so it looks really nice. I love how this turns out, and it's such a fun table. So there you go. That's another one that's coming very soon. And I'll show the last one. Well, the last one that I have ready to show. There's others I also have that are in progress that are also coming very soon. But you know, these are the three that I've been working on. So we'll show this last one, and then that'll be the end of the video. So yes, one that everyone's been asking for so long. I finally went out and I updated Slam Tilt's original table, Blade Runner. This is an original table he built from scratch, not based on any other table, not an update to any other table. And this is a fantastic table. A lot of people love this table. Problem with this table, though, was the layout is built for old Future Pinball physics, which, to simply put, the flippers would shoot super wide off the tip on old Future Pinball physics. And some of the side shots were made with that in mind. So when you added FizX Physics, realistic, you know, nFozzy, you know, proper type physics to it, the angles are now correct off the flippers, but they can't make those side shots anymore. So we had to wait till FizX 3 came out to finally be able to do it more correct. But even then, those side shots were still very hard to get. So I had to do a lot of updates and changes to this table's layout. And some of the artwork to match, you know, so I had to go through this table a lot, like, you know, things that you may not notice, but a lot of the layout and geometry had to be changed, like, you know, but I didn't want to change the table, you know, at all. I just wanted to make it work with the newer physics. So I had to go through this whole table and overhaul all of it. Here, let's turn that down here for a second. Here, we'll bring it down. But yeah, this table is awesome. So now you can see I've did the same kind of updates I did. I went through the physics, the lighting, when I update the lighting on these tables, especially Slam Tilts, I had to remove a lot of the stuff he had before on there. It's not that it was done bad or improper. It's just they were done for his preferences and for what was possible back years ago when he did this, whereas now we have newer features that allow us to do things way differently, and that's what I do when I do my updates. So I had to kind of remove a lot of the stuff he did, which is a lot. I swear I spend more time removing or changing the stuff he added, which were good back in the day, but for the kind of lighting I need, I had to remove a lot of it, and then, you know, do what I normally do. You know, so I've done all that with this table. The insert images have been changed for the most part. Post-processing, recast shadows, ball shadows, shadow maps, you know, the whole table has been completely updated to work better. The lighting for the flying police car has been completely updated now with spotlights, so it looks really cool. You know, and physics are so much better, but I'll explain more what I'm talking about. So this guy over here is now different compared to the original table. So you see that target there, that looks like a target reticle? That's where the N on the gun targets used to be. So all of this used to be much further down. And it's literally impossible to make those shots with proper, accurate physics and flipper angles. It is literally impossible. With old Future Pinball physics, yeah, it was possible because the shots would always be ridiculously wide, which is not realistic at all. Same with these green targets over here. So I had to make some adjustments to move them up a little, and I had to update the playfield art as best I could to make it look like it was naturally part of the table, you know, without going through and redoing the whole table again. You know, and then small things, you know, physics, layouts and geometry and all that, you know, I had to overhaul a lot of stuff on this table. It was kind of a pain, you know, but here you can see different camera angles again. But yeah, look how beautiful this table is, man. Look at the backboard with all the lighting and the, you know, the everything from the movie in there. And yeah, very cool table, a tough table, but yeah, so we'll just go through it. And also another change I made is the DMD used to be 128 by 16. Now it's a regular size DMD, 128 by 32. I had to go through and recode the entire table for all the DMD stuff to make that fit right. So that was a pain in the butt, you know, but it's so much better now because now anyone with a cabinet can mirror that to their real DMD or DMDX, Freezy, you know, like it'll work perfectly with all that now. So now here's one thing that sometimes happens. That's a limitation with the table that sometimes happens. The ball gets stuck. I can't avoid that completely. You know, I've tried to avoid it as much as I can, but he's got a built-in mechanism that pops the ball back in to make sure it doesn't stay stuck there. So the idea here is that you want to progress through and you know, do enough cases to, you know, find the rogue replicants and various other things throughout the game. And you collect money on this, not points. And the whole idea is that you can use that money on your next game to unlock another feature, like or bigger bonuses or adjust times for certain things, you know. So yeah, but like look at this. So this plays like so nice now. Like, you know, the angles are accurate, the shots are easy to make, the behavior is correct. Like look how beautiful this table is, you know, and with the updated lighting and shadow maps, it just looks so nice, man. It looks so nice. Now, see what I mean though? Like those side shots are hard to make, even with the adjustments I made. You know, like those drop targets on the side there. You know, they're still hard to hit. You can do it. It's just you got to be used to it, right? But there's only so much I can do on that. So you know, I mean, the best I can do is try to see. And I'm terrible at that already. You know, you can see. So hold on. Let's see if I can. Yeah, see? So you can make it, though. You absolutely can. It just, you got to get it right off the tip of that flipper. You know, it's not an easy shot to make. So the same thing with those green targets on the right side there. Yeah. See, man, I'm doing terrible for response here. I'm playing with a gamepad, so, you know, it's not my preferred way, but it's easier to do gamepads with these videos, so. So here, I'll just show you quick. I don't want this video to go forever. So if you hit these guys, then now you have a case highlighted, so then you can make that shot, and then you can start a case. And then there you go. Now you have to do like an actual mode. So in this case, it's the orbit. Now some of these modes are timed, some are not. So there's one shot made there.
Surprised you didn't come here sooner.
And there you go.
We couldn't make you. Not to last.
Yeah, I also had to update the backlash on this to work with that newer DMD too. Like all the backlash art and the HUD art and all that, I had to update all that to make it work. But yeah, so the idea here is if you hit the gun targets, all three of them, drop targets pop up, and then you have a limited amount of time to hit those targets. It used to be like 20 seconds. That was impossible with these newer physics. Impossible. So I changed it to 60. And then if you unlock more time with more money, then I think it goes to 2 minutes, you know. But it was impossible to do before. Even with this opened up and moved up, you couldn't do it in 20 seconds. So if you hit all of them, so then you've completed this mode. If you do all three again, now you've got this mode here. You know, I'm just jumping through it, but you get the idea. So now they're each kind of like a little different mode, but yeah. So I mean, so I just wanted to show that because a lot of people may not know that's how you're supposed to do that. And now another thing that was a little harder to do before, so I extended the time, was trying to get the spinner. So I can't remember how long I changed it to, but yeah, if you hit this target here, you hit this target here, and then you have the center one here. If you hit all three of those, then you have to make that inner loop shot afterwards within a certain amount of time. And here, I'm just going to do it. So now you got the spinner, and I updated the animation and the lighting for this guy. So now he moves smooth with easing, and he's got that spotlight now, and it looks really, really nice, you know. Whereas before, his animation was kind of just, you know, stop, start, you know what I mean? Whereas if you add easing, now he'll smoothly transition and then move smoothly between each part of the animation. And it's got a spotlight added now, a BAM spotlight, so it looks really nice. And see that's a perfect example. Like that kind of dynamic lighting is a big difference between Visual Pinball and Future Pinball. You can't do that kind of lighting in Visual Pinball to this day. Like even with all the new awesome new updates coming, it's still static lighting and textures. That may change in the future. I mean, NEWAC has been going crazy with updates on Visual Pinball, but to this day, it still can't do that level of lighting. You know. So it's just one of the things that I really like on Future Pinball, and it can really stand out, you know. And you have all these tables that you don't have on Visual Pinball that now are going to play better because of FizX Physics. And then when you know, when you get someone like me who updates it for the lighting and the FizX Physics, man, it's like these tables are freaking awesome. So yeah, so Blade Runner, oh, there you go, Replicant Edition. Is also coming very soon. Now, just so you guys understand, all three of these table updates I just showed you and other ones coming are going to be what's called PinEvent Lite updates. Basically, they're going to have everything from PinEvent V2 features except for a complete DOF config for cabinets. It's going to have just a plain Jane basic one, no custom lighting or anything else. And it's not going to have a full pup pack like, you know, with the modern videos, the modern text, you know, all that kind of stuff. You're going to have to use DMDX to mirror the DMD to your extra display or real DMD. The reason why is because I'm working on Silent Hill, and I'm going to be working on that for many months. So my thing is I could get an update like this done in a matter of days, you know, maybe a week at the most, you know, and I can get that out to you guys quick. If I did the pup pack and the DOF, you're talking probably a good month at least for one table. Whereas I can get, you know, many tables done in that same amount of time. And then you guys can enjoy those tables while I'm working on Silent Hill. So that's why I'm doing these light updates, these PinEvent Lite updates. The pup pack and the better DOF will come later on. You know, but I'd rather do these updates now so that you guys can have awesome physics, awesome lighting, awesome shadows, and other fixes and features added to it that I can do in a short amount of time, a very, very short amount of time. You know, so that's what these are all about. So that's why I did these table updates. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go through and do a bunch of awesome table updates in a short amount of time. You guys can enjoy them, and then I'll add the extra pup and DOF stuff later on. But while I'm working on Silent Hill, you're going to have a bunch of new table updates that are going to be friggin' awesome. So, yeah. So that's all I got to say about that, guys. You know, long video, sure, but that's what bookmarks are for. So don't bitch and complain about long videos. You know, I hate that when people are like, oh my god, it's a 1 hour video or a 3 hour video. Or like, I'm like, there's bookmarks, guys. Jump to the part you want. You know, like, geez, like, you know, take a few seconds and then, you know, ignore the stuff you don't want and watch the stuff you want, you know, like, geez. Anyways, so yeah, there you go. Lots of awesome new stuff coming. FizX version 3 is awesome. It plays so much better. I can't easily show it in a video compared to you guys playing it. So very soon, these table updates I just showed you are coming. You can already get the all-in-one example table and mess around with that. Add that to a new Future Pinball table if you want, or another Future Pinball table if you want. For yourself, follow the tutorial, and yeah. So just keep an eye out for my new PinEvent Lite updates and releases coming out very soon, and then I'll keep working on Silent Hill while you see that stuff come out progressively. You know, I got a bunch of tables coming that are gonna have those same kind of updates. So yeah, Future Pinball is about to get some really awesome stuff coming. So yeah. Great time to be in pinball. Visual Pinball is getting lots of great updates and awesome tables, and all these awesome Future Pinball only tables are now getting the similar kind of updates. You know, here's a comparison. You see a lot of these tables that were either VPW updates or VPW mods, or, you know, VPW helped with other people's with their updates. You know, that's a bunch of people that do those table updates. I'm one person, one guy. And I'm updating the equivalent of nFozzy Physics. I'm updating Fleep sounds. I'm updating SSF. I'm adding all this new stuff to these tables. I'm, overhauling the table geometry for better physics and all that. Sometimes doing new art. And I'm also doing all new lighting in many cases. Not all. It depends on the table. Most of these, I'm doing new lighting, but in some cases it's brand new lighting. In some cases I'm updating what was already there to make it more modernized and much better. Post-processing lighting, I have my own formula for making things look the way it looks. It's not just a copy and paste of a few settings. It doesn't work that way. There's way more involved, and all the PinEvent stuff. Like I'm getting all that stuff added in a very short amount of time, and I'm by myself. So understand, guys, like there's a huge difference of why you don't see as many Future Pinball tables come out quickly compared to Visual Pinball table updates, that are either by VPW or other guys. You have entire teams of guys working on one table. I'm one guy, and I'm getting all these tables out by myself in a short amount of time. So, there's lots of Future Pinball tables out there that you'll never see on Visual Pinball. And, I'm not a fanboy. I don't say one is better than the other. Each has things that are better than the other. They each have their own, advantages that the other doesn't have. For me, it's more about the tables on Future Pinball you will never get on Visual Pinball, updating those and making those play better. I don't care what program you use, Visual Pinball, Future Pinball, I just like the end result. If the end result is a better game to play, that looks better, plays better, I don't care what you're using to play it on. Some people are very much, they only want Visual Pinball only and anything else is horrible. They're missing out, man. They're missing out, and it's a shame because these games are friggin' awesome, and you're going to see a lot more coming. And yeah, so just keep an eye out, guys. Great time to be in virtual pinball, both visual and future. Awesome stuff coming. So that's it. That's the end of this video. See you later. I'm going back to work on more stuff. Bye.